Hello all, welcome to helpingtesters.com. So in this sessions we will be talking about timers. So as we have taken a overview during the introduction of the JMeter, that timers help us to generate real life experience traffic. Considering an example, suppose there are 1,000 users you are hitting my website, that is helpingtesters.com. So all those users won't be just hitting at the same time. Also, it's not the case that those 1,000 users are viewing my course. That is, for example, let me consider this. Let me open this website. Okay, so this is the website. So suppose considering 1,000 users are on this website. Okay, so it's first case, not all users hit the helpingtesters.com at the same time. It may be the case some are viewing this course. Let's say out of 100, 100 users are viewing this course. It can be the case some are viewing this blog. It can be the case some are viewing this course. So like this on. Every user has its own functionality or its way of exploring a website. You cannot say that all those 1,000 users will hit the website at the same time, will open the course Selenium at the same time, will open the blog at the same time. No. So there would be time gap also in between. It's not that they will be doing this instantaneously. Suppose one user will open a website, let's say in 2 seconds, another user will open the website in 6 seconds. So there are time gaps in all this behavior. So how we can generate the real traffic? For this, the JMeter has provided us with some timers. So let's study those, some important ones one by one, and let's start with constant timers. Let me add a thread group. Inside that thread group, I will add 2 requests, and in that I will be hitting this website, or I will be hitting my website, that is helpingtesters.com. Right, copy this, and it's a GET request. I will just paste the domain here, and similarly here. So this is request 1 and the another one is request 2, and let me add a listener, and I will save this. Not here. I will just go to JMeter videos, and this is timers, and I will save this with the name of constant timers. Right, now let me add a constant timer. Let me add, you can see that at test plan level you can add a thread group and some another elements, like you can add config elements, timers, preprocessors, listeners, etc. And in thread group you can add samplers, you can add logic controllers, while in test plan you cannot. But at test plan level you can add listeners. We have seen that at a global level you want to fetch result of all the scripts, you can add listeners at global level, similarly the timers. So the functionality is just that when you add something inside a thread group, it will be calculating or analyzing the value related to that thread group only. On the other hand, if you add any of these stuff at the global level, because test plan is the root, so if you add anything at the test plan level, so it will be catching or analyzing the activity for all the test script, that is for all the thread groups present in your test script. Right, so let me first add a timer here, that is a constant timer. Let me paste it front. Okay, and let me first disable it also, right? And I will also make this view result tree at a global level, this. Okay, so I have put the review result tree, so it would be catching all the result of as many as thread group. If I add 2 thread group also, so it will be capturing the result of both the thread groups. Let me save and run this. You can see as soon as I clicked on run, it is failing. Let me check. It's helpingtesters.com. That's right. Let me make a Java implementation here. Yep. As also discussed during the learning of samplers, that we need to change the implementation here to Java if we want to execute the request. Okay. So you can see as soon as I click on this, the requests start working. See? Now, suppose I want to do that after 5 seconds, my execution should start. So this is my constant timer, and here we enter the value in milliseconds. So I will enter here 5000, means first my script would wait for 5 seconds and then the execution would start. Let's see. Let me enable this as well. I will save this and run. So it would wait for 5 seconds. See, it is waiting. Now it start executing. Right? Let me make it 10 seconds and run it. So now it would be waiting for 10 seconds. It is waiting. See, 10 seconds, one request printed, and then again it is waiting. For 10 seconds, and the next request is run. So constant timer is applied to both of these requests. Now it is at global level. So let's say if I change its location, I put it here or anywhere, and I run it. Let it made 5 seconds. And I will now, if I run it, so it doesn't matter. It will again be waiting for the same time. So constant timer is applied at the global level. It is irrespective of the locations. So it again waiting and for 5 seconds. Now, let's say this was my constant timer 1. Now, let me add one more constant timer here. This is my constant timer 2, and I will again wait for 5 seconds. So how it will work? It will work that it will wait for 5 seconds for this constant timer, 5 seconds for this constant timer, and then it will execute this request. Then again it will wait for both the timers and it will execute this request. That is 5 plus 5 is equals to 10 seconds. So it would be waiting again for 10 seconds for each of the request. Let's see. I will run this. So it is waiting. So 5 seconds for one constant timer and again 5 seconds for another constant timer, and it's run. Again it will wait for both of the constant timers and it would be running. Right. Now let me disable both of these and add a constant timer in my thread group. Constant timer of, let's say, 5 seconds. And let's see how it works. So the functionality would be same. It is waiting for 5 seconds, then it work again 5 seconds, and it would be printing. So the position does not matter. So we can also add a function to see how much exactly time it is waiting. So JMeter provides some inbuilt functions which we can take help of. We have a dedicated section for JMeter functions, but for the time being we can use one JMeter function. So you can get the list of all the functions from here. We go to the options and function helps, and this is the drop down. So we have a function time. Okay, so from here what you can do is you can prepare a function. So it is saying time format, these are both optionals. So let me just generate a function. So this is my time function, I can just use it. So here I am manually entering the time. Let me disable this and add a new one so that you also know how you have an example how it is added and you can learn it later on. I will add this function here. So before I was adding 5000 here. Sorry, it's a time, right? My mistake. So what I will give after this request, I will add this function. What this function would print, this function will give the time and it would be printed. Also, I will write it here. Written that after in the result tree this request is given, it will also print the time. Let me run this. So it will wait for 5 seconds, print the time. So it has print us the time. So I think the time it's defaultly printing is epoch time. Let us see, we want some seconds here. So it is not giving us some seconds. It's so we have a help function here. So what it says that if you want seconds, you need to use this. That is year, month, day. Okay, let me just use this. Use this here, right, and use it here. You can generate it by here also. So here it says the format you want to have. This is the format and we don't need to any variable. So if you generate this, so it will generate the same function. So let's see, now run this. Okay, so it will wait 5 seconds before each request and our objective is to check yes it is waiting for 5 seconds or not. Our motive is this. Okay, it's 5 seconds not printing. Okay, let me just run it again. 3, 4, 5, it should be, yeah, now it is. And now the next, so you have seen now the time is quite understandable. This is the year, then the month and that stuff. So it's I don't think it's, yeah, the reason is it's having a space maybe, so that's, it is not giving us the correct time result. Let's see now. Let us run again. Yeah, now the time is pretty understandable. I think it will work. You see, so this is the year, it is month, and the date it is giving, and then the time. So you can see that in both of these requests, it is that second was 07 and in this it is 13. That is, there is the 5 minutes gap in between both of them, right? So how it will work, let's say if I enable this also. This was a global constant timer of 5 seconds and we have an internal of 5 seconds. So these requests should wait for 10 seconds for each to be work. Let's see. Now we can exactly find out as it will be giving us the seconds. "10 seconds, next." It will again be running after 10 seconds the next request. Yeah, so it's around difference of 10 seconds. So that is perfectly fine. Now, one more thing I just want to tell you, that it won't work for the timers, won't work for the controllers. I have a controller here, let's say simple controller. So it's not that it would also be adding a weight to simple controller. No. Let me disable it. Simple controllers, it add the hierarchy of in the test thread. So it should wait. No. That is, this constant timers is applied for the request only. It is not applied for the controllers. Just I want to tell you. Also, suppose we have added 5 seconds here. I have added 5 seconds. Suppose I don't want to add some exact time, means I want to make it random, that it can be 2 seconds, it can be 10 seconds. So for this also we can use a JMeter function that is known as random. This is the random. So what it is saying the minimum range. So the minimum range V is 2000 and the maximum range we want to go is for 10,000. Let me generate. So what this random function will do, it will generate any value which is between 2000 and 10,000, that is between 2 seconds and 10,000. Let us copy this and use this. So now a random value will be generated and it will be applied for both of these. Let's see. Let us this and one more thing. Let us, that's, I think that is, if I add something now it would be complex. We'll be covering that, what I was thinking to tell you in functions lecture, and run this. So it would pick any value between 2 seconds and 10 seconds and it will wait that seconds for the timers. So you can see it has taken 4 seconds. So the difference between both of them is 4 seconds and the total execution was done in 8 seconds. So it means that the first request was also run after 4 seconds. That is, the total execution is 4 seconds. So this is how you can use the constant timers. So what we have studied, that we can apply the constant timers at the global level. We can also apply it at the thread level. The total number of wait would be equal to the number of constant timers available. Each request would be waiting the constant timer which we have given. Also we have used the JMeter function time here so that we can actually check how much time it is waiting between the request. And we also seen how we can generate a random number and used it in a constant timer. So constant timers again are used so that we can produce real traffic. We don't want that these two requests should be hitting the server at the same time. No, these requests on my website, that is helping testers, there were 2 users. I know that these 2 users won't be hitting my website at the same time. Instead, I want users should be hitting after 5 seconds. So I can use this script so that users are hitting on my websites every 5 seconds to generate the real traffic. Now let's study with some of more timers, that how they are executed. So it's a new script and I have a thread, and let me add just a Java request. I will name it as a request 1, right? And I will have 2, 3 requests here. 2, 3 and 4. Now I will add a timer that is known as Gaussian random timer, and I will save this file test plan as Gaussian random timer. Right. So how the Gaussian random timer works? So you need to define two values. One is the deviation and another is a constant delay offset. So what it means, it constant value, let's say I give it 5 seconds. So it is saying that this is the constant value, and how much deviation you want from it. I want deviation that is 2000. So if I say, so what would be the value? What the minimum value? The delay can be 5000, that is minus 2000 is equals to 3 seconds, and 5000 plus 2000, that is the deviation, is equal to 7000. Right? So this is the minimum deviation and this is the maximum deviation. So the request, the deviation, that is the wait time for in between these requests, will vary between 3 to 4 seconds. So if I apply here a listener, you can find the same. Let me save this, and you will say for some time it will be waiting for 3 seconds, and sometime it will be waiting 4, 5. So any amount, because the gap can be between 3 to 7 seconds. Let me add here the timer as well, as we used in our last. Let me use time function here. This was the time, and yes, this was the format which we want in. And let me generate this and use it here. So by this we will find how much random time it is giving. Right? And let me save this and run now. We clear the old result. Yeah. Okay, so it started running. It is waiting for the second request. So you can see the time is 2 and 8, and then here it is 6, 3, that is 7 seconds. What's happened? It's not executing. Just a second. Why it run 3 requests only? Okay, let me just clear this and run this again. Okay, so the first request executed now, that is 35. Another was running after 4 seconds. Then it ran after 5 seconds. And then it ran after 7 seconds, 7 to 8 seconds. As it varies till 8, so it can be around 7 to 8, because this should be 7 but it is coming 8. The reason is, I will tell you, the reason is that there is time gap. We are reading all the values in GUI, so it takes time to be represented or shown on GUI. When we will be studying the actual load, at how we should, what are the good practices of running the load testing, I will let you know that we don't use this GUI, because using this GUI the data is not accurate, because the data has to be represented on GUI mode as well. So we don't use this GUI, instead we use a command prompt. so that we get the exact value of the result. So the values are same. So for the first one, it's the constant timer was 4 seconds, then 5 seconds, and here it was around 7 seconds. So that was Gaussian random timer. Now here we will be studying a new timer which is almost similar like Gaussian timer. So let us modify this script only. So I will remove this and I will use one timer, that is uniform random timer, and I will save this test plan is uniform random timer. Okay, so like similarly in Gaussian timer we have two values. Here also we have the same. So it is saying that the constant delay time, so we say it's the same 5 seconds, and the random delay maximum we want, it is 2 seconds. So in case of Gaussian timer, the value varies minus 2000 or plus 2000. While in case of uniform random timer, the minimum value would be 5 seconds and the maximum would be constant delay plus the maximum delay, because here we are giving the maximum delay, not the deviation, as in case of Gaussian random timer. So the maximum it would be 5 seconds plus 2 seconds, that is 7 seconds. And similarly, let's run this and see what values it is printing. I've never used practically this timer, so let's see if I'm right or wrong. As per the definition, I get that this is only it. Yes, it is. So you can see the first wait is for 7 seconds, next wait is for 5 seconds, and the next wait is for 6 seconds. That is, all the waits are between 5 and 7 seconds. For 7, 5 and 6. So this is uniform random timer. The difference only is here we have deviation in case of Gaussian random timer, and in case of uniform random timer we have the maximum limit. In this lecture we will be talking about a timer, that is synchronizing timer. So for this, to study this, I'm not taking a standard template because I want to teach each and every component. So I prepare it the best you can learn it. Sometimes I use Java request, sometimes I'm actual request, sometimes I'm doing looping, sometimes I'm adding more requests. So depending, I use the scenario which I can teach you the best so that you can easily understand which component it is by the respective examples. So let me add a thread group, and inside a thread group I will add a sampler. That is, I will use a HTTP sampler. So I have this my local, I will start the server and I will write web tools. Okay, so this is the application and I will use it here. I have this and I will mention the port in the port number. So this is perfectly fine. I have a HTTP request. I will say web tools homepage. Say request 1. So I will similarly use 5 request. Okay, I will make it 2, second request, third request. In real scenario, these are different APIs. These are the scenarios. Suppose in the first you are opening the login page, then this would be you are clicking the login, and similarly the different APIs. For the sake of teaching, I am not unnecessarily repeating the scenarios. I am just copy pasting and using the same APIs. I hope that is clear. And so I have 6 requests, and I will add a listener view result tree. I will save my test plan as synchronizing timers. Now when I run this, just notice that all the requests are hit at the same time. If I make a loop of, let's say, 5, again let's see how it is working. All requests are hit it at the same time. Because the execution was so fast, it appears that all are hitting at the same time. Now I don't want this. I want that it should make, or let me show you a different thing also here. So first case was this, and suppose I am using one loop only, and I say that this thread, this virtual user, should hit all these APIs in 10 seconds. So you can see in result now. So oops, so this is 10 seconds. API should, okay, I think I did some mistake or not. It should take 10 seconds. I have provided a ramp up period of 10 seconds. Okay, I am using one user. So suppose I have 5 users and I have asked them to let's say hit the server in 20 seconds. And if you now see here, see all requests are hitting at this. I am using the loop. No, it's some taking old result, I guess. I have 5 threads. Let me disable this so I can clearly show what it is. So I have 5 threads and I want to that in 20 seconds these threads would be hitting this website. Let me run this. So you can see after, let's say, 3 or 4 seconds, each virtual user would come and hit this. You can see here, because my 5 threads would be hitting this API in 20 seconds. Okay. Now I don't want this. I want that instead of one request, I want a pair of two requests should hit the server at the same time. I just repeat myself. Suppose I have 10 users, and if I run this, you can see that after a gap of 2 seconds, each request is hitting the server. I don't want this. I want to club this request, that once 2 or 3 requests are saved, then only hit the server at the same time. So how I can manage this? You can manage this with the help of a timer, that is synchronizer timer, that is synchronize your threads. So I say number of users, let's say I say 3, so it will group the user with the value of 3 now. If I save this and run this, you will see that no user would be hitting. It will wait for seconds and all the 3 requests would be hitting at the same time. Now again 3 would hit at the same time. So synchronize timer is used. It synchronize your threads. We have given that don't hit here. Don't hit this website till 3 requests are there. Once the 3 requests are there, then hit this. So it groups the APIs, or you can say it groups the users when they are hitting the APIs. So as the name comes, this is synchronizer timers. So you have a number of virtual users hitting the server at any moment time, so you can synchronize them. that once 100 users are captured, then only hit a server. Any scenario which you want. So in this section we'll be studying our last timer, that is known as a constant throughput timer. Now what is a constant throughput? So throughput is the number of requests which are hitting per second on the server. So sometimes the client sometimes tells that prepare a test suite or scenario with this throughput, that this is the amount by which the request should be hitting the server. Sometimes the client knows that what is the capacity of his server, and he don't want the through output, that is in per second a number of requests should not be hitting on the server. So you have to make sure you are not hitting. Suppose in a server can handle only 10 requests per second, and if you're sending 20, so definitely the server would crash. So you have to make sure that you are maintaining that constant throughput. So with the help of timers, we can achieve that. So you had to add a thread group, and in that we will add a HTTP request, and this our web 2 replication username. I mean credentials of path and port, and it is on my local server, so the server name would be 127.0.0.1. so this is my request 1. Similarly, I will add some more request. So this is request 2. Yep. And this is request 3 and 4, 5. And how we can check what is the constant throughput? So for this we have a listener known as aggregate report. Now what is this aggregate report? What fields it has? We'll be covering all those when we'll be covering the section of listeners. So for now just add this aggregate report, and under this you will find this column of throughput. Right? So let me add a one user, and I will be hitting in a, let's say, loop of 500, and let me save this and start the execution. So I will save this under JMeter videos, timers, and I will name it as constant throughput timers. And if I run this here, you can see what is the total value. Total value of throughput is coming around 915. That is, in 1 second server is handling around 900 requests. Now suppose I want to change this. Currently in 1 second it is hitting 900. I want to decrease it, and let's say only it should handle let's say 30 requests or whatever, but not this 500. So for this I can add a timer, that is constant throughput timer, and I say that it should handle around 4000 requests per minute. So what it would come to, 2000 divided by 60, that is it should handle 33 requests per second. Default it was showing 900. Now I want only 33 requests should be hitting on the server. So I have added a constant throughput and I have tell to only 2000 requests should hit per minute, that is around 33 requests should hit per second. Let me save this and run it again. Now do you see here the value is coming around 33.5. Before it was able to handle 900 requests per second. Now we have modified our script in such a way that they will be hitting the server so that only 33 requests are hit on the server per second. Before, our execution did happen within seconds, but now it's taking time because the number of requests which are hitting the server have been reduced. And you can see here it is maintaining a constant throughput. The total constant throughput is of 33. So this is how we can maintain the constant throughput. So it is still executing, and it would execute since we have 500 threads and 5 requests, so it will execute for 2500 samplers. So let it execute. So sometimes you might be executing with low threads, low count, low for loops. So you find this value is not coming exact equal to what you mentioned here. The reason it gives only the value if you have sufficient number of requests. If I say give only 2 requests, or if I give only 2 loops and say the value should come around exact this, it won't be. Because as the number of requests, as the number of loops increase it will start coming near to the value which we have given in constant throughput. So the execution has completed, and you see now it is showing the exact value 33.3, which is perfectly right. If I have mentioned here only one loop, and if I would have run this now, you see now the value is 41.3, near to 33. If I made it 10 and run this, it is coming 33.9. So as we are increasing the loops, the value have started coming nearby 33.3. You see it is being corrected. Okay, so that's all for constant throughput timer. So as you can see, it is a very important timers in case where the client wants that you should not be hitting a server with maximum to these number of requests per second. So that's all. Thanks for watching our video. Thank you.